The enemy fleet was closing in. Every alarm on the Vigilance screamed as the ship's sensors filled with red warning lights. Captain Rourke gripped the arm of his chair, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. 10 enemy warships, closing fast. They're matching our vector, said Ensign Vale, her voice tight with fear. They'll be in firing range in less than 3 minutes. Rourke didn't flinch. Hold course. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. They were deep in alien territory, far from human space, with no reinforcements anywhere close. The aliens, Kareth. Warlords had been chasing them for days after a skirmish near a disputed mining world. The Vigilant was fast, but not faster than a fleet equipped for the hunt. Captain, said Commander Hawley, the first officer, we can't outrun them. We need to. We'll make it, Rourke cut in, his voice calm, almost cold. The viewport, a pale crescent, was growing larger. A dead moon, orbiting the edge of a dying star system. It was gray, cratered, and lifeless. At least, that's what the Kareth believed. The alien commander's voice came over the open channel, deep and mocking. Human vessel Vigilant, you have nowhere left to run. Surrender now, and we may let some of you live. Rourke didn't respond. Instead, he leaned toward the helm officer. Take us to the moon. Full burn. The crew hesitated. The moon was just a rock, nowhere to hide. Even if they landed, the Kareth would bombard the surface until nothing remained. But Rourke's tone left no room for questions. The Vigilant roared forward, engines straining. Behind them, the alien ships adjusted their formation, tightening the net. Energy beams flashed in the darkness, missing by narrow margins. The ship shuddered as shockwaves rattled the hull. Inside, the crew worked in tense silence. Vale watched. The moon's surface grow larger on her screen. Something about it felt strange. The craters seemed too regular, the shadows too sharp. She opened her mouth to speak, but stopped. Now wasn't the time. 30 seconds to low orbit, reported the helm. Rourke's eyes narrowed. Keep us just above the surface. Don't slow down until I say. The alien commander came over the comms again, laughter in his voice. Run to your rock, human. We'll crush you there. The Kareth ships fired again. This time, a plasma bolt struck Vigilant's port shields. The ship lurched hard, throwing several crew members against their straps. Smoke hissed from a control panel. Shields holding, Hawley reported, though his voice betrayed doubt. Rourke stood. All crew, brace for atmospheric skim. The ship plunged closer to the moon, skimming the edge of its thin, ancient atmosphere. Friction lit the hull in a faint glow. The surface loomed below smooth ridges, massive cracks, and vast plains of dark metal like rock. Vale frowned at her. Instruments. Captain, I'm not reading rock composition. It's alloy. Rourke gave the faintest smile. Good. The crew exchanged confused looks, but the captain's focus never wavered. They shot over the moon's surface, racing toward a wide canyon-like scar that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. The alien fleet followed, now so close their weapons lit the Vigilant's hull with every near miss. The canyon was seconds away. Drop. Use in, Rourke ordered. The Vigilant dove into the canyon, vanishing from the enemy's direct line of fire. The walls rose high on either side, smooth and sheer like no natural formation should be. Vale's voice shook. Captain, these readings, the moon isn't. Not now, Rourke said. His hand gripped the railing. Wait for it. Above them, the alien ships began to circle the canyon, positioning themselves for a final strike. The Kareth commander's voice filled the bridge again, smug and certain. Cornered animals always die the same way. But Rourke didn't look like a cornered man. He simply stared at the smooth walls of the canyon, waiting, listening. Somewhere deep inside the moon, something began to hum. The vibrations were faint at first, barely noticeable. Then the deck plates trembled, panels flickered. The hum grew louder, turning into a low, resonant thrum that seemed to come from all directions. Vale's eyes widened. "Captain, the moon is moving." Rourke allowed himself the smallest grin. "No, the hunt is moving." Outside, far above the canyon, massive cracks began to split the moon's surface. Thin beams of light escaped into the void. The Careth fleet didn't understand what they were seeing. They thought it was a geological shift, a dying rock breaking. Apart, they had no idea it was waking up. Asterisk, the hum grew stronger. It wasn't coming from the Vigilant. It was coming from the moon itself. Captain Rourke stood at the center of the bridge, watching the readings on the tactical display. The ship's scanners went wild magnetic spikes, power surges, energy signatures, older than anything in known space. Ensign Vale whispered, "Sir, these readings shouldn't exist. This moon, it's not natural." Rourke didn't answer. He was watching the surface. The canyon walls beside them weren't just rock. In the faint glow from their running lights, the crew could see smooth metal beneath the dust. Engravings, like ancient symbols, lined the surface patterns that pulsed faintly with light, as if something inside was breathing. Outside, the alien fleet spread out above the canyon. The Careth commander gave orders over their encrypted channel, confident the humans had nowhere to go. But they had no idea their prey had led them into something far worse than open space. A sudden deep rumble shook the canyon. Loose debris rattled against the Vigilant's hull. The ground beneath them shifted very slightly, but enough for every crew member to feel. "Captain." Commander Hale's voice was tight. "The moon's gravity just changed. That's impossible." Rourke's lips curled into a slow smile. "Not impossible, just forgotten." Vale's eyes darted across her screen. "Sir, I'm picking up enormous energy spikes. Power output is climbing past anything on record. Whatever this is, it's waking up." The alien commander's mocking voice crackled over comms again. "Human vessel, enjoy your last moments. We'll turn your bones into ornaments." Rourke leaned toward the comms officer. "Don't reply. Let them think they've already won." Above, the alien ships prepared for their strike. Plasma cannons charged, their blue light flooding the canyon. One shot would be enough to vaporize the Vigilant. Then it happened. The canyon walls split apart, groaning like a great beast stretching after a long sleep. Massive plates of metal slid away, revealing colossal mechanical structures beneath. Towers rose, weapons emerged, and blinding light poured from deep within the moon's core. Vale's voice trembled. "Sir, this isn't a moon at all. It's a ship, a giant ship." The vibrations intensified until they could feel it in their bones. Somewhere deep inside, titanic engines powered up, sending shockwaves through the crust. Commander Hyle stared at the view in disbelief. If this thing's a ship, how old is it? Rourke didn't take his eyes off the spectacle outside. Older than the Careth, older than most of the galaxy. And now, it's ours. The alien fleet suddenly stopped moving. Their scans must have shown them the same truth the humans were seeing. But by the time they understood, it was already too late. A deep, resonant voice, metallic, ancient, echoed through the Vigilance comms. "Authorized human presence detected. Weapons arming." The Careth fleet began to scatter. Rourke simply gave the order, "Seal the Vigilant inside. Then close the trap." The moon was no longer silent. The deep metallic hum had become a roar, low, thunderous, and alive. Every deck plate on the Vigilant vibrated, making cups and tools rattle in their holders. The crew stared out of the viewport as the canyon walls continued to pull apart, revealing more and more of the impossible. What they had thought were cliffs were now retracting armor plates, sliding away to expose rows of colossal weapons, mass drivers the size of skyscrapers, missile silos big enough to swallow a cruiser whole. Ensign Vale's breath caught. "Captain, it's bigger than a city." The ship's lights flickered as their sensors struggled to keep up with the energy readings. Whatever powered this ancient machine was older than any human technology and far stronger. Then a sound cut through the bridge like a blade, a long, echoing chime. It was the sound of something waking up after centuries of sleep. On the main screen, strange golden symbols appeared. They were alien, and yet, somehow, recognizably human in design, like the echo of a lost language. Voice returned, stronger now. Primary systems online, human command access granted. Vale turned to Rourke, eyes wide. "Sir, it knows we're human. It's letting us in." Without hesitation, Rourke said, "Bring us inside." The Vigilant rose on thrusters, guided by invisible tractor beams that locked onto the hull. Slowly, they floated deeper into the canyon until a massive hangar bay opened beneath them, glowing with pale blue light. The crew gasped. Inside, the hangar stretched for miles vast enough to fit an entire fleet. Ancient fighters, sleek and black, rested in perfect rows. Automated repair arms moved like patient guardians, untouched by time dot as soon as the Vigilance settled onto the landing platform. The hangar doors closed, sealing them from the outside. The hum of the engines around them grew sharper, as if the ship this moon was eager to move. Above the hangar, massive gun turrets began to turn toward the Kareth fleet circling outside. Commander Howell stared at the weapon systems on his console. "Captain, these cannons could destroy a battleship in one hit." Rourke's voice was calm but deadly. "Then let's make sure they get the chance." Outside, the alien commander's voice was no longer mocking. It was desperate. "Human. Vessel, power down whatever you found. We can negotiate." Rourke didn't reply. He placed his hand on the control panel, feeling the faint vibration of ancient power beneath his palm. The golden symbols on the main screen shifted, forming words in perfect English. Targets locked. Fire command awaiting. Rourke gave the order. Fire. Asterisk, the Kareth fleet never had a chance. From the outside, the moon had looked slow, ancient, harmless. Now, its true face was revealed an armored predator, bristling with weapons that dwarfed anything in the modern galaxy. The first shot came without warning. A single beam of white-hot energy lanced out from the moon's surface, cutting clean through the lead Kareth destroyer. The alien vessel didn't explode, it simply split in two, both halves drifting apart before vanishing in a silent flash. On the bridge of the Vigilant, the crew stared in stunned silence. "Direct hit, Commander," Halley whispered. It vaporized their core in one shot." Rourke's voice was steady. "Keep firing. Do not stop until none are left." The moon's ancient AI obeyed instantly. Missiles the size of buildings launched from hidden silos, their contrails glowing bright in the black void. Energy turrets tracked every movement above, each shot hitting with surgical precision. Kareth. Ships tried to scatter, but the moon's guns were too fast, too accurate. One cruiser managed to fire back a desperate volley of plasma bolts. The impacts splashed harmlessly against the moon's outer hull, its ancient armor absorbing the damage without so much as a scratch. "They can't touch it," Vale said, disbelief in her voice. "They're completely outmatched." On the alien flagship, panic had taken over. The Kareth commander's voice cracked over the comms. "All ships retreat. Retreat now." But retreat was no longer possible. From deep within the moon, massive thrusters ignited. The entire planetoid shifted in space, blocking the enemy's escape vector. The canyon walls that had opened for the Vigilant now began to close. sealing the humans inside as the warship moved. The moon wasn't just a fortress. It was a hunter. A cluster of drones, each the size of a fighter craft, swarmed from launch bays, weaving between enemy ships. They didn't just fire. They attached themselves to hulls, drilling through armor before detonating from within. The void lit up with a deadly dance of fire and metal. One by one, the Kereth ships vanished from the tactical display. Inside the Vigilant, Rourke's crew watched in awe, some gripping their seats, others unable to look away. Vale swallowed hard. "Sir, this isn't a battle. It's an execution." Rourke's gaze was cold. "Exactly." The alien commander made one last transmission, his voice trembling. "Human, please, we surrender. Just stop." But Rourke didn't answer. The order was already given. "End them." The moon's AI complied. In less than 60 seconds, the last Kereth vessel was reduced to drifting wreckage. The void was silent once more except for the deep, steady hum of the hunter waiting for its next prey. Asterisk, the battle should have ended. The Kereth fleet was gone, shattered in minutes. Yet the moon did not power down. Its vast engines rumbled louder, a deep growl that echoed through space dot inside the Vigilant. Rourke stood at the bridge window, eyes fixed on the distant stars. "There are more," he said quietly. "The hunters brought friends." Vale scanned the perimeter. Her screen flared red. Multiple warp signatures. 4 more fleets. All closing fast. Commander Hale's voice was grim. "They must have called reinforcements before we got them." The ancient eye spoke again, its voice calm and certain. Additional hostiles detected. Engaging pursuit. The moonship began to turn, its massive thrusters burning bright. Slowly at first, then faster than something its size had any right to move. It angled toward the nearest incoming fleet. Vale gripped her console. "Sir, it's not waiting for them to arrive. It's going after them." Rourke didn't blink. Good. The stars shifted in the viewport as the moon accelerated. Its sheer speed was unreal. A planet-sized warship was now moving like a predator in full sprint. Out ahead, the Kereth reinforcements realized too late what was coming. For them. They tried to scatter, but the moon had already begun firing. Gigantic lances of light streaked across the void, carving enemy cruisers apart before they could even get into formation. The enemy's comms filled with panic. "It's not a moon. It's alive." It's static one by one. Ships blinked. Note not into hyperspace, but into explosions. In the hangar bay, the ancient fighters began launching in waves. Black as shadow, they moved like a swarm of locusts, weaving between Kereth ships and striking with merciless precision. Vale stared at the tactical display, speechless. "Sir, it's not just chasing them, it's hurting them." Rourke finally smiled. "That's what hunters do." The last survivors of the Kereth broke formation, desperate to flee into hyperspace. But the moon moved ahead of them, cutting off their path. It wasn't a retreat anymore. It was slaughter. The hunt would not stop until the void was silent again. Asterisk silence. The last Kereth ship was gone, nothing left but drifting debris and the fading glow of destroyed reactors. The stars around them were quiet again, as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Inside the Vigilant, the crew sat stunned. They had just witnessed something no living human had ever seen, an ancient warship, masquerading as a moon, tearing through fleets like paper. Vale's voice was barely above a whisper. "Sir, it's over." Rourke shook his head slowly. "No, not yet." The massive ship began to slow, its engines dimming to a steady glow. The deep hum that had filled space since the awakening softened, but it did not fade. This was no victory. Rest, this was a predator waiting for the next sign of prey. The AI's voice came again, low and deliberate. Hostiles eliminated. Threat level low. Awaiting new targets. Commander Heil looked at Rourke uneasily. What now? We can't just leave this thing here. Rourke stepped forward, placing his hand on the glowing console. We don't hide. We make sure everyone knows it's here. He keyed into the comms, opening a broadcast on every known channel in the sector: human, alien, neutral. His voice was calm, but it carried the weight of absolute certainty. This is Captain Rourke of the human vessel Vigilant. We are in control of an ancient warship hidden in plain sight for centuries. If you come for us, if you chase us, the moon will hunt you, and it will not stop. Across the galaxy, listening posts picked up the transmission. In alien council chambers, leaders froze. In dark war rooms, admirals exchanged fearful glances. And somewhere in the shadows of deep space, other predators decided, quietly, to keep their distance from humanity. The Vigilant undocked, drifting into the black. Behind them, the moon sealed. Its hangar, the cracks in its surface closing until it looked once again like nothing but a dead rock. But those who knew better not. It was out there, waiting, watching, hunting, and the galaxy would never feel safe again.